Good day to all. I am Jehel Reyti Castulo. I am a first year B.Ed student. I am here today to discuss to you the brain development. We all know that brain is one of the most important part of our body. Brain is the set of intelligence, interpreter of the senses, initiator of our body movement, and the controller of our behavior. So this is the brain. Brain is a complicated organ that regulates our body's thought, memory, emotion, touch, emotion skills, vision, breathing, temperature, and hunger. So brain is the controller of our body. Brain development. So what is brain development? Brain development starts with the womb of our mother. When the child is 25 days in the womb of the mother, that is her brain. That is the brain. So it is the 35 days, 40 days, 50 days, 100 days, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months until 9 months and its birth. What is brain development? Brain development is a protracted process that begins in the third gestational week with the differentiation of the neural progenitor cells and extends at least through late adolescence, arguably throughout the lifespan. So, like like I said earlier, that is the brain that starts the brain development. So, when we say protected process, it is the lifetime or long term. So, brain development is a long term process that begins in the gestational week. So, when we say gestational week, it is the period of time between conception and birth. So, it is the time where the child develops, the brain of the child develops. That is the process. It is the process of the brain development. Its development is most marked during the prenatal period when the embryonic precursors of the nervous system rapidly multiply, migrate, and begin to differentiate, forming a brain that at birth is similar in appearance and approaches 80% of the size of the adult brain. So just like I said earlier that our brain or the brain of the child starts developing in the womb of the mother and starts to develop until its birth. The most aspects of the brain is the ability to change during young age. It begins shortly after conception and continues through the lifespan. May be affected throughout sensing pathways by sound, touch, vision, smell, and thoughts. The important aspects of our brain, it has the ability to change during young age. It begins shortly after conception and continues through the lifespan. Maybe if you notice some of the people has a problem in terms of their brain, so maybe it has a complication in the pregnancy of their mother so that their brain is not fully developed, and it is very important to have a good health in a process of pregnancy so that the brain of the child is good and fully developed. Nurturing and responsive care of the child's body and mind is the key to supporting healthy brain development. Our brain develops and it has a stages. And my group mates will discuss to you the different stages of brain development.
Hello everyone, my name is Estelle Tixon Campos from BED A1. I'm the second presenter of our report talk about brain development. Before we start our main topic, we discuss first the brain development of how a child brain develop over the years. So, brain is one of the most important organs in our entire body system. It controls everything in the human body. When we are a baby, our brain is not just well developed and we cannot operate in the society. Um, we need our own assistance from our parents or our guardians. There is the years we gain development through walking, speaking, and other movement at the early stage of our life. The brain development at a rapid rate, their lean and gap things efficiently and their curiosity to learn a new things and to adapt to their surroundings to a very highly is how the brain was developed in the serious stages of a child life. So now let's proceed to our main topic. It all about the stages of the brain development. First stage, during pregnancy. 60% of the genes are dedicated to brain development. By birth, the brain will develop the total of 100 billion neurons. Pregnancy is not just about the miraculous growth of the body or a baby. Rather, it's all about the incredible baby brain development that is going on at the same time. Um, Most of this baby brain development can be attributed to the rapid preformation, growth, and planification of brain cells. A child is born with 100 billion neurons forming connection with one another and creating elaborate messaging network that scientists consider the most complex biological system in the world. So now, let's discuss the following trimester of brain development. When does a fetus develop a brain? 7 weeks. The rudimentary brain separates into three distinct parts from forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. First trimester rather, neurons and synapses began to develop in the spinal cord. Second trimester, the brain takes control of body function and breathing manners begin. Third trimester, the brain separates into the right and left halves and it continues to grow rapidly, which is the prenatal brain develop start at just over 2 weeks with the formation of the neural plate. The neural plate will curve into the neural tube, which will close and segment into four distinct sectors. We call this the forebrain, the midbrain, the hindbrain, and the spinal cord. They are all the predecessors and the of your little one's wonderfully complex neural system. This is all finished up by about the 7th week of pregnancy. At the 6 weeks, your child begins to move, and this is just the beginning. Before the start of the second trimester, your child will able to suck or swallow, breathe, and string, and even their thumb. The last part of baby brain to mature before birth is the cerebral cortex, which is the part of the brain that controls voluntary actions. These parts of the brain will still be relatively under, underdeveloped at birth, but it matures rapidly within the first few years of the child life. That is the the development of brain. Next, the second stages of brain development. At the age of 0 to 3, brain established in a mini connection and pathway. By the age of 3, the structure and design of the brain is almost complete, which is a child brain undergoes an amazing period of development from birth to 3, producing more than a million neural connections each second. This stage is consists of the dramatically physical change that occurs during the first 2 years of the brain development. Um, we are born with the most of the brain cells that we will ever have, that is about 83 billions. Our neurons whose functions is to store and transmit information. Um, while most of the brain's neurons are present at birth, but they are not fully matured. So there are the example for to health of the age of 0 to 3 years old to their brain fully matured or fully developed. This is R. The fun learning ideas for 0 to 3 years old. These are the following can help contribute the brain development or matured of the ages of 0 to 3 years old. First, let's sing together. Let your child painting and drawing. Let your child hands-on game. And let your child reading books of all kinds together. And talk about numbers around you. That is my topic for today. And we will wait the next presenter of Miss Hannah. That's all. Thank you.
Hi, I am your third presenter, Hana Charina Kishikansana. Before we proceed the topic, let me show you the figure and function of the brain. So, I know it is already tackled by the first presenter, but I want you all to have the clarification of what is the brain. So, what is the brain? The brain is one of the most important organs in your entire body. It controls everything in the human body. The human brain is the center of the nervous system. The brain is protected by the thick skull. So the brain our is help us to move and speak. So that is the function of the brain. So to proceed the main topic, age 3 to 7. Development of voluntary movement, listening and perception. Children become able to think in symbolic terms. So, in age 3 to 7, the development of the brain is can be able to think symbolic term. A child in the mode called the symbolic mode or stage is able to depict and convey ideas through the use of words, sound, and play the child can. During the symbolic function, children master the ability to picture, remember, understand, and replicate objects in their mind that are not immediately in front of them. In other words, children can create mental images of objects and store them in their mind. So, that is the age 3-7 development of the brain. So, in age 7 to 12, the brains begin to form some of the established connections. Children begin to create sequences of logical reasoning, ability to perform multiple classification tasks. So, in age 7 to 12, children are not necessarily mature at the same rate, but they can begin to create classification tasks. Children progress at different rates. They have different interests, abilities, and personalities. But there are some milestones many children reach from 6 to 12. A child age 6 to 7 can understand the concept of number, can explain objects and their use. A child age 8 to 9 can draw and paint, can name the month and days of the week in order, can read more and enjoy reading. A child 10 to 12, a children can read well, can enjoy using telephone, can write stories. So that is the age 7 to 12 development of the brain of the children. So let's proceed the teenagers. By the age of 18, the number of brain connection will be reproduced to 500 trillion. The brain reaches its peak at age 22. So, in teenagers, their brains grows and change. Their brains change affect children's thinking and behavior. Children's brain have massive growth starts with they're very young. By the time they're 6, their brain are already about 90 to 95% of adult size. The early years are a critical time for brain development, but the brain still needs a lot of remodeling before it can function as an adult brain. So, it is clearly that this is the function of the brain of teenagers. So, in stage 3 is to 7 to 22, the neutral connection or gray matter is still forming, wiring of brain still in progress. The fatty tissue surrounding neuron or white matter increase and assist connection. Connections. The prefrontal cortex is the last to mature and it involves the control of impulses and decision making. Therefore, need to learn to control reckless, irrational, and irritable behavior, avoiding drugs, alcohol, smoking, unprotected sex, and substance abuse. So in stage 3, 7 to 22, so this pruning process begin in the back of the brain. The front part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, is last make remodeled last. The prefrontal cortex is the decision-making part of the brain, responsible for your child's ability to plan and think about the consequences of action, solve problems, and control impulses. So this is the function of the stage 37 to 22. So let's proceed the brain growth stages. Age 3 are a period of growth in human brain. A 3 years old brain is twice as active as an adult. From amount from around age 10 and above, most brain changes serve to improve function of the more sophisticated and versatile frontal lobes. About age 17, the brain goes through a second growth spurt with the frontal lobes increase in a size again as do their synaptic connection to the rest of the brain. Between age 13 and 15, brain size and function increase, especially in motor and spatial perception areas of the frontal cortex. By age 18, through periodic pruning, the brain shedding of weak connection between neurons, the number of synapses in an 18 years old brain has been reduced from 1,000 trillion to 500 trillion, the same number that an 8-month-old baby has. So that is the brain growth stages.